Good afternoon, Americans. This is your favorite alien here on the afternoon of Friday, June 30th, 2023. Well, half the year's gone by, 181 days, got 184 to go, and 2023 is in the history books. Ain't that fun? And today's commentary is a continuation of yesterday. It's entitled Integration, into a guy named John Philip Lawson. Boy, somebody must have loved John Philip Sousa if I named you John Philip already. Well, Mr. Lawson, to answer your email, and boy, were you weren't nice on the email. It sounded like you were African American, but that's just me assumption, and you know what happens when you assume, so I'll say, well. But you were growling about the fact that, what do you mean you can't be this, and you are very point to say black. Black is a pigmentation, Mr. Lawson. So is being Asian. It's a pigmentation. Latin is a pigmentation. Caucasian is a pigmentation. And that's what you got to deal with. Give you an example. Your society's crazy. It's integrated, but not in the social level. Okay? Integrated in the fact that you guys can now sit together, go to the restaurant with the other guys next door, and music is cross-pollinating. I mean, African music. You see a lot of Americans that like African old, you like the Motowns and Tina Turner and all the good stuff there. And you got a lot of blacks that like white stuff. Heck, I see blacks that like Frank Sinatra or the Beatles, Rolling Stones. Well, those poor guys. I mean, they like them, But you got African American music, Latin music, Asian music, Indian music, all around in the States. Food, same way. You got Latin food, a lot of Latin restaurants, and I don't mean Mexicans. I mean Latins, like Puerto Ricans, Cubans, even Hoochie Land has some restaurants here. I saw a couple in Orlando here. That's Panamanian, by the way. Spanish and I saw a Colombian restaurant. Yeah, okay, they got those. Argentine restaurants. They got a few in New York City. I see over there. And you got them all over the place. Asian. Remember the time when you mentioned Japanese hibachi. Say like 1941, 42, 43, and you mentioned that. And even today, there's a lot of Americans that are in their late 80s and 90s who hate that because they still have the grudge against the Japanese. And there's a lot of Japanese that have a grudge against Americans. Well, that happens. Yeah, you know how that goes. 80 years after a war ended. Boy, what's the same with you guys? You look at the 1920s. In 1923, this week would be 160 years since the Battle of Gettysburg, the most lethal battle in U.S. history. More people died that day than they did anywhere else. And you could say, we got a lot that died in the D-Day invasion there. But if you add them together, you only had 460,000 in the entire World War II. But you have The official count, I believe they place it at 628,000. But I would call it more like closer to 700,000. So if we go by the conservative estimate that they have up there by the U.S. government of 628,000 dead, and you got 460 dead, then you add the 38,000 from Korea, 58,000 from Vietnam, another 20,000 for all the rest of the guys. You still don't make it to that since World War II. Wow. And if you had all the other wars, you might make it together, you know. You forget about the Civil War, but add all the other wars, the Spanish-American War, the Mexican War, the War of Independence. If you had all the dead, yeah, you might get to equal or around there what the Civil War on both sides got. 628,000, but I say closer to 700,000 on that. Yeah, see? But like I said to Mr. Lawson here, you guys are only integrated in your foods, your music, art. A lot of cross people are, buying art. You even cross-pollinate. Pardon me. You have couples that are mixed race, cross-pollination. Mm-hmm. Yeah. See what I mean? Being from an alien from another planet. So the poor kids are going to have a rough time because, some people don't accept mongrels, or what do you call them? Mixed race. I think that's a word you use these days. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that is kind of crazy. And I know the feeling because when I was growing up, I was a mestizo. So, you know how that goes. Yeah. But what you have is you have all this integration. Even the sports, starting with baseball in 47, football, basketball, to a certain extent hockey, but you don't see that many African Americans. It's too cold for them. They don't like to play hockey. Plus, they don't like to get clobbered. You play football, you get clobbered there. You play baseball, and you can get clobbered if you don't shoot right. I see a lot of throws, like I saw yesterday. A guy nailed him at home plate, but oh no, I hit him. Oh boy. Yeah. See, and if you hit him, what is it that if you hit him with the ball, he should be out, shouldn't he? Yeah. So what is it with you baseball guys? Yeah. See what I mean? Well, you got integrated there too on the sports side. You integrated the food side. You integrated the music side. You integrated the housing side, even though you got very, like the movie the program that you had recently, The Neighborhood, where you got a black and a white person there. Or remember the Jeffersons? They wanted a piece of the pie. The Latins are bad because, believe it or not, Latins, we are bad. We can go into a neighborhood, and it's like having those ants from Africa, Marawunta, and we mess up the neighborhood. But to answer Mr. Lawson's question, the thing that you have to do is say, for once, your pigmentation issues should be abolished. And around 5 generations from now, it'll take a while, a person can see a black person and a white person, and all they see is human persons of African descent, or European descent, or Asian descent. Yeah, that's all you see. Human. Terran. And your cultures will be there. You'll lose something, but some of your culture will remain. Heck, if you look at yourselves here, whether you're European, African, Asian, you got some of the old cultures in there. Sumerian, Egyptian, because you have cross-pollinated over the millennia. And the culture, some of that survives in one way or another. Roman, Greek. Except that you like Greek salad? Oh boy. Roman. They had some awful things in the Roman times, those fish they used to eat. Ugh. And then you had water with lead, boy. Yeah, remember those? Yeah, well, see what I mean, Americans? But you gotta integrate your social structure. And the fact that you're not white, you're not black, you're not yellow, and you're not red, you're not a he, she, a she, he, or what's it? But you haven't even started that yet. Therefore, all this growl with affirmative action, both sides are wrong. You're both wrong. And the only thing you gotta say is, people, we, in order to eliminate affirmative action, cannot legislate it to death. We cannot legislate it to go. We cannot legislate it to keep it. But we have to integrate ourselves and form a new society so that our descendants, 5 generations from now, will look at us and see us as a pain in the ass. This is your favorite alien to Mr. Lawson saying, that's the answer for you. Good day.